Now, within SuperControl, we know that every owner loves a direct booking, and we at SuperControl are committed to help you achieve more direct bookings. However, the self-catering accommodation sector is a highly competitive market now, where online travel agents or OTAs have become increasingly prominent and therefore really an essential part to your marketing mix. In fact, we've done some stats and we know that channel bookings in SuperControl have grown by an average of about 44% year on year over the last 3 years. And in fact, a quarter of all of our bookings taken in SuperControl actually come through OTAs. So each day our channel is basically calculating more than 734 million prices to send live to various OTA listings. Now, channels are not something to be scared of. Rather, if used correctly, they can really be a valuable tool to increase your visibility of your properties and branch out into these new markets. Now, within SuperControl, there's 3 different types of channels that you can connect through the channel manager. Well, we've got the first ones, which is the international channels, and those are your big channels such as Airbnb, Booking.com, Vrbo, HomeAway, TripAdvisor, etc., etc. And then we have the smaller UK-based and regional channels, and these include things like Cottages.com, Premier Cottages, Visit Scotland, and also SimpleView, which powers a great many region-specific platforms. And the third and final type of channel that we connect to is like these niche or specialist channels. And these are those ones that cater to specific types of guests or to very specific markets. So those would include things like glamping or camping sites, family-friendly sites, pet-friendly sites, group booking specialists, and there are many, many more. Now, using SuperControl's channel manager really offers you with the opportunity to stay in control while also boosting your visibility and benefiting for the thousands of guests that browse these various different travel search engines every day and basically allow you to show up wherever your guests are looking. By diversifying your distribution strategy, not only are you adding your listings to booking channels that can obviously allow you to attract a broader range of guests, but it could then obviously allow you to minimize the risk of vacancies, especially for that late availability. And so be sure to maximize your occupancy rates and boost your revenue. We're going to be chatting about the international channels and one of the biggest players, Booking.com. And hopefully I'm going to highlight how connecting with Booking.com can be really a great way to market those out of seasons or even those last minute short break availabilities, and so gain more exposure. Now, before I go on to how to actually do it with Booking.com, I wanted to just chat about our SuperControl channel manager features. With our channel manager, you have the option to ensure real-time updates across lots of different platforms. Obviously, at the same time, it would minimize the risk of overbookings. Now, there are lots of terminologies and additional information to consider for whatever booking channel that you actually integrate through our channel manager. And the reason being why I wanted to stay here just a little bit is because every channel is very, very different. And with that, the integrations that we have with them vary considerably. We are also obviously trying to evolve all of our integrations as the channels themselves evolve. So the first thing I wanted to chat about was one-way or two-way. You'll hear those terms thrown around quite often, but basically one way, obviously, most channels pull availability and data from SuperControl, and some will actually send back availability and bookings. And those sorts of connections are two-way. If they only pull and don't send back, they're obviously a one-way integration. But for example, today we're talking about Booking.com, and they're a good example of a two-way integration because obviously they're taking our rates and availability, looking at it, and then sending us bookings back. We also then have availability only, or what we call ICAL integrations. And this is where SuperControl sends over the availability and pricing, but the channel doesn't send any information back. And typically this type of connections are therefore our niche or specialist channels. They're usually set up using ICAL links. And an ICAL link is the most basic of integrations. It's where we just sync dates only. They basically block out the date in your calendar, meaning that no one else can book them. We then have a step up, which is a rates and availability integration. And this is obviously where we'd send over availability and pricing, and the channel may or may not, depending on whether they're one-way or two-way, will send through bookings. Some channels can accept more information. In terms of rates and availability and Booking.com, rates and availability is the type of connection that we use where we link up to your existing Booking.com property listings. We then have the further up above that type of integration, and that is a full integration. Now, within Booking.com, we do have the option to use our full integration, and this is where we use the content, such as your photos, your amenities, your descriptions, They are pulled directly from SuperControl, and we actually use this information to create new channel property listings on channels. So we are creating the property listing on your behalf on booking.com. There's no need for you to actually go ahead and create the listing. We think this is a very useful tool, basically because information only needs to be added once in your SuperControl account, and then this information can then be pushed to multiple channels. So for example, you can use the content within your SuperControl to create a new listing on Airbnb, booking.com, Vrbo, all at the same time, rather than having to go and create those listings yourself individually. And then obviously manage them as well. So in terms of these sorts of integrations, I wanted to chat specifically about our channel service fee. I mentioned how the channel bookings have grown 44% year on year over the last 3 years. And because of this, around 30% of our developer capacity is actually spent on developing the functionality of these OTA or online travel agent integrations. And in fact, 50% of our infrastructure is also dedicated to supporting these. And this is the reason why we've had to bring in a channel service fee. It's basically there just to ensure that the service actually remains sustainable. What is the channel service fee? It's a 1% plus VAT on the total accommodation value of your bookings received via these OTAs. And what happens is that the channel service fee is only charged on the gross accommodation value. It's not charged on the fees such as itemized extras and booking and cleaning fees, for example. And also this channel service fee only applies to bookings that are received from booking.com, Airbnb, HomeAway, TripAdvisor, and Expedia. And the reason being is because these are sites that are constantly evolving and therefore require the vast majority of our resourcing, as well as our infrastructure development, knowledge, and servicing. So there's no channel service fee on bookings from niche or regional channels. So those, for example, membership organizations and associations. So booking.com, their story basically began with one man in a small office space in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. He was a tech guy and he had an entrepreneurial spirit and just wanted to bring together Dutch travelers and the place that they wanted to stay in. So with the help of an online booking service, which they called bookings.nl, which was based on the Hilton online service center, it was later then purchased by Priceline Group. They later then merged it with Active Hotels, which was a European online hotel reservation system. And so they became the world's leading digital travel company. In fact, they're now one of the biggest players. In fact, more than 1.5 million room nights are booked on booking.com every single day. And obviously with such a wide customer base, they can help you reach a vast audience of potential guests, and not just from within the UK, it's across every corner of the globe, meaning that you'd basically have access to entirely new markets all in one place. Okay, so SuperControl specifically, we're a premier connectivity partner with Booking.com. Now, our idea and our aim has always been to simplify this journey from onboarding to having a final listing. And basically, this award really reflects the success of our approach. As mentioned, with Booking.com, we've got a full feed integration, and that would significantly benefit you. Basically, what happens is it allows us to manage your property content, prices, and availability through your SuperControl account, obviously making your life easier and saving you valuable time. We have the option to sync your property, your content and your rates and availability basically in real time, automatically using SuperControl Channel Manager. Another nice thing about them is that there are no fixed costs. Rather, they have a commission-based model for Booking.com. Basically, what they do is they take a percentage fee plus VAT from each booking made via Booking.com. So there's no standard service fee to list on them. It's rather a commission based on every booking you received. Booking.com offer a variety of payment services in terms of the fact that they allow you to maintain as much control as you would like. You have the ability to tailor your cancellation policies basically to suit what your business needs are as well. They're also low risk in the fact that you have the option to switch them on and off when you want. You also have the option to block your availability so that you only take direct bookings and not booking.com bookings, maybe during your peak seasons, for example. Just in terms of booking.com, we've got the two types of connections with booking.com. We call them a legacy and we have a content or full API integration. The legacy basically is where we will allow you to connect your existing listing, and this is where we'll send over only rates and availability. Whereas we've got the content API connection, which is a full integration, which will allow you basically to create new listings on booking.com from all those property details within your SuperControl account. So this is where we're going to be sending things like your property details, your amenities, your descriptions, together with your rates and availability to booking.com.